Can you imagine for just a moment that before you were born, your soul stood at the edge of eternity and chose your family? Not by accident, not by some cosmic mistake, but with intention, with purpose, with a level of divine precision that only a soul on a mission could have. And yet, here you are, questioning why. Why would you be placed in a family that feels like walking through fire? Why would your first experience of love be laced with pain? I've asked those questions too. And here's what I've learned. Being born into a toxic family is not a punishment. It's not a curse. And it's not a random stroke of bad luck. It's a sacred calling, one that only the strongest souls accept. But I know, it doesn't feel like that. Not yet. So let's go deeper together. Let's uncover why your soul chose this path and how it's shaping you into the person you were always meant to be. The furnace of the soul. Toxic families are like fire. They burn, they consume, and they leave behind scars that never fully fade. But do you know what else fire does? It purifies. It melts away the superficial and reveals what's real. That's what your family did. Whether they meant to or not, they handed you a torch and said, "Here, walk through this fire and let it make you unbreakable." You see, chosen ones are not here to live easy, ordinary lives. You're here to break cycles, to transform pain into power, to take the suffering of generations and end it with you. And that is not for the faint of heart. You were born into patterns, to shatter them. Your family's toxicity is not random. It's ancestral. It's generational. It's a chain of pain passed down like an unwanted inheritance. And you were born to be the last link in that chain. Think about that. Your soul didn't come here to repeat the same patterns. You came to transmute them, to alchemize the pain into wisdom. But here's the hard truth. You cannot break a pattern you have not lived through. You can't rise above something you refuse to face. And so, you were placed right in the center of the storm, not to be destroyed by it, but to learn how to calm it, to become the eye in the hurricane, the mirror of their pain. Let me ask you something. When you look at your family, what do you see? Anger, manipulation, control, neglect, and now, the deeper question, where do you see that same energy in yourself? Because here's the raw, uncomfortable truth. Toxic families are mirrors. They reflect back to you the very wounds you came here to heal. If you grew up with emotional neglect, you may struggle to validate your own feelings. If you were raised in chaos, you may seek control over everything. If you were taught love was conditional, you may believe you have to earn your worth. But do you see the hidden gift? Your family's dysfunction reveals your areas of healing. It gives you a map to your own freedom, the brutal beauty of healing. Now, let's be clear. This path is not easy. Healing from a toxic family is one of the hardest roads a soul can walk. It will ask everything of you. Your strength, your patience, your forgiveness. It will ask you to feel the wounds you were never allowed to feel, to give yourself the love your family could not, and to extend the compassion they never showed you. To yourself. Because here's the truth. You cannot save your family. You can only save yourself. And in doing so, you create a ripple effect that touches every generation that comes after you. The freedom of letting go. But breaking free isn't about cutting ties. You could walk away from your family tomorrow and still carry their wounds inside you, because the chains that bind you aren't physical. They're energetic. They're emotional. They're the stories you've carried about who you are because of how they treated you. So let me ask you, what if you could lay those chains down? What if you no longer carried their judgment in your heart? What if their toxicity no longer had the power to shape your self-worth? That is true freedom. The kind of freedom where you can sit across from someone who once made you feel small and remain unmoved. Where their chaos no longer disturbs your peace, where their pain no longer defines your path. This is the freedom you were born to claim, the path of the chosen. And here's the most beautiful part: you are not alone. There are millions of souls just like you, walking through the fire, breaking generational chains, choosing to be the light bearers in families that have known only darkness. You are part of a sacred tribe, a tribe of cycle breakers, of healers, of soul alchemists. And though this path is not easy, it is necessary, because your healing does not end with you. It ripples out, it changes everything. It becomes a torch passed to every soul that comes after you. Your sacred invitation. So now I want to leave you with this. Your family's toxicity was never a reflection of your worth. It was an invitation to remember who you were before they told you who to be. An invitation to rise above their wounds without carrying them as your own. An invitation to become the person you were always destined to be. Free, whole, unstoppable. You were not born into a toxic family by mistake. You were born into it because you were strong enough to transcend it, because you were wise enough to learn from it, because you were brave enough to heal it. And that is why you were chosen. Now the only question is, what will you do with this sacred calling?